Warning, this video will contain subjects of mental health and suicide. If that's not something you're comfortable with, you don't need to watch this video. Not long ago, I tweeted this and decided maybe it's about time I make this video because it's something that I should probably just get out there. I've been sat on this script for months, and to be honest with you guys, I've completely rewritten the script. The first script, just there were too many details about my life and stuff going on that I did not need in that video, that was both boring and intrusive and involved stuff about other people without their consent to be spoken about. So a lot of stuff just isn't going to be in it that was originally in it. So probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe even 5 now, I was diagnosed with depression. In hindsight, me, family members and friends can probably agree with the fact that I was probably suffering with it before this point. I was not exactly in a good place for a while, and this is just how long it took for it to get picked up on. It was probably a couple of years before anybody noticed. And after going through various different medications of different types, I'm finally settled on mirtazapine, which has helped with me. I'm definitely not as bad as I used to be, so that isn't to say that that particular medication will work for everyone. Everybody's different. Now, the first misconception to clear up is medication, because something I see a lot of people think is that medication turns people into zombies or changes who they are or something along those lines, and honestly, it's the exact opposite. When my mental health was at its worst, I was non-caring, aloof, I skipped going to classes, I didn't talk to people, and I didn't care. The hardest thing about it is the lack of caring about anything. I didn't care about getting better, so why bother getting better? Depression is like being in freezing cold water, but not the initial shock of falling in that water where you thrash about. No, it's after that. You start to go numb, you lose all your energy, you can't feel anything, you don't have the energy to pull yourself out, so you just sink. That's where self-harm comes into the equation. Not many people know about my self-harming. My family don't know, and if any of them watch this, it might be a shock. But without going into details of what was going on in my life, I was exhausted. I was trying so hard and had no energy left to feel anything. So for me personally, going perfectly with my analogy of ice cold water, my self-harm came in the form of fire. I would burn myself. When you feel that pain, it's a breath of air and a surge of energy. It's a feeling that where there is no other feeling, and as terrible as it sounds to people that don't know what it's like, you grip onto the pain as a sign that you're still human. You're not an emotionless robot or alien. You can feel. That is one of the biggest parts to me, personally, that it came in. The purpose of medication, that we went on a bit of a tangent there. I started talking about medication, but the purpose of medication isn't to make you feel less sad or to feel less. The purpose of the medication is so that you can feel, so you don't need to hurt yourself to know that you're feeling. Because depression is such a numbness that if there is any way that you can feel, then that's a good thing, and the medication helps with that. It helps you know that you can feel. Something I went through that people might similarly have suffered from, you might understand what I'm saying if you have been through something similar, is this downward spiral that you throw yourself into. So often I would find myself numb, and maybe I would watch a sad movie, but I didn't feel sad, or I didn't feel sad enough. So I'd watch another sad movie, and I still don't feel sad enough, and then I'd watch another one, and another one, because I need to feel sad, because I feel guilty about the fact that I don't feel sad. And then you just feel even more guilty, and then you make yourself feel so awful that you feel guilty over the fact that you're feeling awful, because why should I even feel bad when so many other people have it so much worse than me? I don't deserve to be able to feel bad. How can I feel bad when other people are so much worse than me? I just get worse and worse and worse. Fast forwards a year from getting diagnosed, I was on my first medication and I was in an emotional commitment with someone when perhaps I shouldn't have been, introducing crippling relationship anxiety and my first experience with contemplated suicide. To cut a long story short, I was in too much pain. I was feeling too much. The medication was messing with how I was feeling, and the person I was dating was seeing someone else, and I found myself on a ledge. By the fact that I'm still here, you can probably assume that I didn't jump, and I'm kinda glad about that fact now, because I'm still here. So anxiety joins the party, and oh boy, does that make things a roller coaster with depression. I didn't realize you could jump between feeling nothing and feeling too much, but oh man, you really can, and it is difficult to do anything. It's like everything is silent, and then suddenly there's this ringing, and the ringing gets louder, and a hum joins in, and the hum gets louder, until you can hear, all you can hear is the hum, but it's not a hum, it's a thought of what if. This isn't part of the script. There's a quote that I want to put in. There's a quote from Virginia Woolf. This wasn't planned in my script, but it's pretty apt. My brain is to me the most unaccountable of machinery. Always buzzing, humming, soaring, roaring, diving, and then buried in mud. I'm buried in mud, I'm muted, I'm numb, I'm silent, and then suddenly every doubt you could possibly imagine runs into my head at once. So I wrote music to cope. I watched movies, I listened to music, I played games, anything to keep that silence away, because when there is silence, there is noise. But sooner or later, the music would always stop. Writing music has been a huge crutch for me personally when it comes to getting how I'm feeling out of me and coping with what I'm feeling and understanding it, because the hardest part of mental illness, especially for me, was this thing called imposter syndrome. Throughout this entire experience, anytime I felt anything, I was certain I was feeling it in the moment, but afterwards it was like watching it through a screen. I didn't know if I felt it or if I was faking it. Did I just want attention? I'm not really depressed, I'm a liar, I'm a fake, I don't deserve the sympathy. I never knew what I had felt after I felt it. So writing music while I'm feeling it helped, because I knew what I had felt through my music. It's so ridiculously stupid. Imposter syndrome is so stupid. If any of you watching this video feel like you aren't really unhealthy, you're not really ill, you're doing it for attention, or you're faking it, talk to somebody about it, because there is no clearer sign of mental illness than imposter syndrome, because so many people I know of that have mental illness got imposter syndrome and refused to see anybody about it because they didn't believe they had it, because they thought that it was just a fake illness, or I don't know, talk to somebody about it. I would like to say after all this that I'm better, that I don't get anxiety anymore, and that I'm fine, but I can't say that because that would be a lie. I'm absolutely not as bad as I used to be. Anxiety attacks have become quite rare, I haven't self-harmed in years, and suicide is the last thing on my mind. If you don't know me closely, you probably wouldn't assume anything is wrong with me, and all in all, I can function as a human being. Something that has helped me immensely is YouTube. Making sure I always have content recorded and edited has been insanely good for me, both creatively and mentally. It gives me something to do, so I'm not just dwelling in my thoughts, but even YouTube has its anxieties. As a lot of you know, I recently hit 1,000 subscribers and 4K watch hours, which is absolutely insane. And that means I can monetize And as of writing this script, I wasn't monetized, but now I am, so I can say that it was great. I got it. It wasn't an anxiety I should have had, but for the few days that I had applied and didn't know if I was going to get it, the anxiety, the what ifs were just driving me insane. The what if you don't get it because of this, or what if you don't get it because of that? I know all your content meets the criteria required, but what if your channel isn't approved for some reason? And oh, it drove me nuts. But yeah, I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I'm not perfect. And I don't know that I ever will be, but I'm here. So that's where I'm gonna leave it. It's a bit of a cliffhanger, but that's because my life is still ongoing. I don't know where I'll be in another year, but hopefully I'll still be doing this, and hopefully you guys will still be watching my content. If you think you or someone you know are showing signs of mental illness, or anything similar to what I've said, or anything completely different, please talk to somebody about it. Doing nothing is how it gets worse. If you think it's you, talk to somebody about it. Talk to a teacher at your school, or there are websites. I will put some links in the description for websites and helplines. And if it's somebody else, talk to them about it and try it. Don't force them to do anything they don't want to, but let them know that you are there to help them if they need it, and that if they need you to push them, then you can push them, because it is very hard to get help on your own. So sometimes you need that push. The hardest step is the first step, but it's also the most important step, because it's the first step to getting recovery. It's the first step to improving. Your mental health matters no matter who you are. Don't let it get worse. Don't let it be permanent. Don't let it stop you from being you. If you let it get worse, that could end everything. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bit of a different and kind of more depressing video, but kind of felt like it was an important video I should make. I will see you in the next video, everybody. Peace out.